Yes. You're locked into another episode of the Red Sea podcast. And it's me again, Tiago's father, your host with the most, bringing you all of the action in regards to Newcastle versus Liverpool. Newcastle are definitely in a fight for survival in the Premier League. A relegation battle is early stage, only mustering up one win all season. And the Reds are flying second in the Premier League, only to Manchester City, who put in a comprehensive display against Leeds last night. Will the Reds be able to capitalise and hang on to the coattails of Manchester City and keep their league title bid alive? We've got everything right on the other side of this intro.
Tell the world, we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
And we are back, baby. We are back. It's good to be back on your PC screens, your TV screens, your mobile phone screens, your tablet screens, whichever way that you view this amazing content from the Red Sea podcast. It is good to be back with you. It feels like we haven't been on air for ages.
It does feel a while.
It feels like a long while, but we're back anyway. And welcome back, guys. It's good to have you here. Southern Scouser, it's also good to have you here, Courtney B. Talk to me, guys. What's been going on?
Go for it, Courtney.
Honestly, I'm just knackered out like I've been dragged for a bush.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm glad you did mention that. Where are you and what have you done with Courtney B?
She's dead. She is dead.
Yeah, I can fucking tell. But never mind. We are here with another episode of the Fab Four, and we are bringing to you the Newcastle versus Liverpool preview. So without further ado, SS, take it away with the recent head-to-heads.
Yeah, definitely. We're back with a bang, aren't we? We've got Spurs. We've got games coming thick and fast. But yeah, in terms of head-to-head with Newcastle, cast your mind back to April of this year. Salah puts us 1-0 up in a must-win game. Everybody's thinking this needs to be a victory. We're chasing that fourth spot. We get a Joe Willock equaliser in the 90th minute, which is disallowed, and everybody breathes a huge sigh of relief. And what happens? He scores again, doesn't he? And this time it counts. So absolutely gutting. I felt that was top four gone at the time. Really, I think that was the lowest I'd felt last season. I thought that was the chance, and that could have been potentially one too many hills to climb. But luckily for us, other teams slipped up, and we went on a pretty decent run in the end. So that was the last time we played them at Anfield. In terms of St James's Park, it was actually a bit of a bore, bit of a snooze fest, 0-0 back in December 2020, pretty much about a year ago to the day that we're playing them again. So other than that, we had quite a good head-to-head record. We won the last 5 before that in the Premier League. So usually a team that we enjoy playing against.
Yeah, I have really fond memories of that. There was a game which I remember at St James's Park where Steven Gerrard scored an absolute scorcher. Like, it wasn't like Shay Given had no chance.
Was that the Lucas layoff free kick or? Yeah, man, bullet.
An absolute bullet. And then I remember Daniel Sturridge having some good times there as well, scoring a few bangers. So it's a team which we enjoy a good day out against. I mean, let's just get straight into the meat and bones and SS. I'll let you take this one away as well. We all saw the images of the Newcastle fans wearing the kind of the Saudi Arabian,
the Arabs,
the Arab wear, dancing around outside St James's Park, thinking that all their horses had come in at once. But it's pleasantly, and this is made very good viewing. It's not been anything like that. I mean, they have faltered massively. One win all season.
Shambles, really, isn't it?
All season. They then turn around and sack Steve Bruce, which personally I think was a wrong decision.
I think it's harsh.
Very, very harsh. and they've brought in Eddie Howe. I mean, let's just touch on the Newcastle investment. They are now branded the richest, if not one of the richest clubs in world football. What can we actually expect from this project? Is it still early days to be writing off this Saudi investment that Newcastle have got?
It's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because I think I saw a stat where, in terms of the Premier League owners' wealth, Newcastle now have 82% of the Premier League. That's including the likes of Abramovich, Manchester City, the Glazers. So it's actually insanity how much money these guys have. Whether they put all of that into the team is quite another thing. And there's been a lot of discussion of how much money do Newcastle actually have to spend, because you can only spend what you make, and a certain percentage you can only lose £100 million over a 5-year period. So there is a point that they've not spent too much under Ashley. So there is a little bit of money in there to spend. So I think they can spend somewhere around £200 million in Jan. They wanted to. However, you look at the likes of Ben White costing 50 million. I think they've been linked to Tarkowski, would probably cost about the same. So will 4 £50 million players of, let's be honest, Burnley, Norwich kind of levels keep this team up this season? And for me, it's going to be bloody close. They've, like you say, one win all season. And I remember when Man City got taken over, it was literally on deadline day, and they just literally scrambled around getting Robinho. But this takeover's happened once the window's closed, so they've had to go from August all the way through to January with, let's be honest, a terrible squad. There's one or two players in there which we will get onto, which will be their threats, of course. But in terms of the Saudi investment, I think January is just survival mode. Is there anybody that we can bring in for 30, 40, 50 mil that are going to keep us up? And I don't really see that kind of spending happening in Jan. I think they're going to be wheeling and dealing still, even though they've got an unlimited budget. I still think the likes of, Dele Alli on loan, Lingard, those kind of players that are maybe on the fringes of a top 6, top 8 team that need some game time are really the best that they can hope for. You look at their position, it's pretty precarious. Would you sign a 4 or 5 year deal with Newcastle sitting 19th in the Premier League? I don't think you would. So I think it's going to be loans and players in and around the same kind of quality that they already have. So I think if they survive, which will be tough, I'm not sure Eddie Howe is the right man for the job at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. I think the summer is where the project really kicks in to gear. You see all these videos on YouTube, people doing Football Manager and FIFA careers and seeing what kind of team they can build with Mbappe and Haaland up front, but it's not going to happen. You look at Man City, it took them, 4 or 5 years to get anywhere near the top of the table. So yeah, I don't see much happening in January. I think if they stay up, we will see the investment more so in the summer. But imagine if they go down, they're going to make a championship dream team and a half, aren't they?
I mean, let's just look at this, right? Because you mentioned about their current team, and Courtney, I'll come to you on this. I don't think they have a bad team. I generally don't. That team they have should be better than 19th in the league. It's better because I look at some of the opposition around them. We look at Norwich. We could even look at teams like Brentford. We could even look at teams like Brighton. Player for player, I think, and name for name, Newcastle could potentially have a better lineup than those teams. So we look at Darlow, backup goalkeeper, Martin Dubravka, arguably number one. You then go into the defenders, Kieran Clark, who I played against in school. Cool. And I don't know how, but we'll leave that for another pod. But Kieran Clark,
friends in the right places.
Paul Dummett, Federico. You then look at Jamal Lascelles, Jamal Lewis, Jacob Murphy, Javier Manquillo, who's a former Red, who actually did all right under Rafa Benitez in his auxiliary kind of bombing forward role. He's got a decent
10 years ago,
but defensively he's very poor. But getting forward, he's actually got a little bit of something about him. Matt Ritchie, who was successful in his time at Bournemouth, back-to-back promotions with Bournemouth, so he's a player of some kind of credential. Fabian Schär. We then look at Miguel Almiron, who is an absolute pace merchant. You've got Ryan Fraser again, who was very successful in his period and time at Bournemouth. Isaac Hayden, Jeff Hendrick, who comes with some credentials. You think about his time at Burnley, was arguably a decent player under Sean Dyche. Sean Longstaff and Matty Longstaff, those boys were coveted in their kind of introductory Premier League seasons. Joe Willock, who scored that bloody double threat goal against us, so he has a little bit of something about him. And John Joe Shelby, who was a fantastic passer of the ball, just very ill-disciplined. We then look at their forwards. Joe Linton, flipping hell, Joe Linton.
Kendall had something to say on him. We couldn't get hold of her.
Of course, Alan Saint Maximin, who is an absolute delight to watch.
Quality.
Dwight Gale, who has been a thorn in Liverpool's backside.
Istanbul.
Before, less we talk about that, the better. And the big man, the number 9, Callum Wilson. That squad is not a 19th place squad. It is not a 19th place squad. So, Courtney, I'll come to you. Is it the players, or is it just poor decisions by management or mismanagement of these players?
Well, I think you go back to the old saying, there's no iron team. Like, you could have collectively a group of good players. You can see it with better teams in the Prem as well, where you see their players and you think they should be bossing it. Like they have a great squad, like they should be doing a lot better than what they are. But collectively, they just don't work well together. And a lot of that is down to management. We know Eddie Howe, he's not the biggest on his defence. Like that's never been something that he's focused on that much. So I would say it's down to leadership, it's down to management, it's down to how well the players gel together. It's down to all, it's a number of things, because you could have 2 amazing players, but are they going to play great together? You could have Messi and Ronaldo in the same squad when they were in their prime and think,
that would be heavenly.
but together, would they play well together? You don't know. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's, even though individually they might all be good players, not amazing, but decent level, maybe not relegation level, but collectively as a team, that's just a whole different scenario. And management is a big thing for it. And I just don't think Eddie Howe has got it in him.
Well, I see that and I understand that, but we can't get away from the fact that Eddie Howe has been the man to come in and replace and under fire Steve Bruce, and he has not been able to stem the flow. So I'll come back to you on this, and it moves us nicely onto our next topic. Is Eddie Howe the man to save Newcastle from relegation? Newcastle have 1 win all season and currently sit 19th in the table. Surely they are primed for relegation. And I will jog your memory. Newcastle went down into the Championship. Some say that it was a strategic move from the board and Mike Ashley. They knew that their cards were virtually marked and it was going to be hard to get out of that position. And it's like they almost prepared themselves and kind of plucked away some of the dead wood, streamlined the club ready for that relegation, to then get the money that you get, the pyramid money and the parachute money that you get to go back up. And I think personally, the board are doing the same thing. Eddie Howe is a manager who is a fantastic Championship manager at best. He did not do very well in the Premier League with Bournemouth. With all the riches that you have, with all the riches as Newcastle United now have, why could they not go out and get someone better? I'm not saying you go and get Jose Mourinho. I'm not saying you go and get Louis van Gaal or you go and get, a Mancini or a Joachim Low. I'm talking about those kind of managers because they've been at the top level of the game and they're kind of now on the downward spiral, where you've got other managers that are on the upward trajectory. Eddie Howe has never been on the upward trajectory, apart from with Bournemouth, with his back-to-back promotions and that spell that he kept them in the Premier League by the skin of their bloody teeth. So for me, Newcastle are prepping themselves for relegation.
Do you think prepping themselves for it? I don't know.
100%. I can't see it any other way, because why would you go and get Eddie Howe? it doesn't make sense.
Maybe
Why would
another option. Maybe everyone looking at that job thinking, who wants that? Like,
thinking they're gonna get relegated. I don't want that on my
inside
CV.
job.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Other managers looked at that going, they're gonna get relegated. I don't want that on my CV. So you know what? I'm gonna swerve that. Whereas Eddie Howe was like, no, he didn't, because he knows, you know what? If we get relegated, we go down to the championship. With that squad, I'll get him back out of the championship. I've got another promotion on my CV. I'm a fucking hero. Do you know what I mean? I just can't see it any other way. I don't look at that situation and think, yeah, that was a great appointment. Do you know how many managers that they could have gone and got? The amount of money they've got, they could have gone and got Potter out of Brighton easily.
Thing is, though, I don't know if you'd want to. I don't think you'd want to go to Newcastle. And yeah, they're saying it's like all this money and everything like that. Newcastle haven't got the pulling power to get in. Because like I remember once when people were like, oh, like Messi's going to end up at Newcastle. Like, Haaland's going to end up at Newcastle. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Fair enough, they've got all this money, and that's fair enough. They do. They're very rich.
Yeah.
But who wants to play for Newcastle?
Well,
no big names want to play for Newcastle.
Well, this is just it, and you make a very good point. And SS, I'd like to bring you in on this as well. Yeah. I'm a fan of staple Premier League clubs. You know, clubs that are steeped in top flight Premier League history. I think it's a beautiful thing. Just quickly, in the game at West Ham and Arsenal, Arsenal had a penalty and West Ham had a sending off. Arsenal have missed the subsequent penalty. Lucas Fabianski has saved the penalty, which keeps it. Yeah, former gunner comes back and haunts his other team. It's a shocking penalty, really, from Lacazette, and a great save from Fabianski. Great reach from him, and keeps West Ham still in the hunt in regards to the game. Because it is 1-0 to Arsenal. Yes, I would. I love staple Premier League clubs. You think Newcastle, you think Leeds, you think Villa. Out of the mainstays like Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Arsenal, those guys there are still big boy clubs. They're still big. They have pulling power in terms of their fan bases. St James's Park is packed week in, week out. Even when they got relegated, week in, week out. Hell, those guys even go to tops in subs. Go to games in sub-zero temperatures, topless. Yeah, they don't muck about up there. They love their football.
They don't feel cold up there. That's why. It's freezing.
I've had an amazing night out in Newcastle before. It's a fantastic,
great
place.
city.
But this is what I'm saying. It's a great city. So they like as a fan base, they deserve more. Yeah. They deserve more. What SS like? What do you think?
I mean, it's been a decade of horrendous ownership, isn't it? You know, every manager that's gone in there it's been hands tied behind their back, poison chalice, and you know, Alan Pardew was probably the best manager they've had, which tells you everything, doesn't it? Really.
Joking here.
Yeah, when he kept getting Nzogbia's name wrong, and then he ended up leaving because he was so embarrassed. Yeah. But yeah, it's you know, going back to the question that you gave to Courtney about the team. You know, I agree completely with what Courtney said. You know, in terms of the players, again, I don't think there's much there. You know, if they were to get relegated, you think Callum Wilson gets picked up, Willock, Maximan, and maybe Lascelles. Other than that, the rest of them are where they belong for me in the Championship. And you know, if you had £1 million, well, not £1 million, £100 million, who you keeping in that team realistically? Probably St Maximan, maybe Wilson. You know, that realistically that team is pants. But in going back to Courtney's point about it's all about the team, which was spot on. I remember, I don't know if it was 02 or 03 when West Ham got relegated. And their team was like Defoe, Carrick, Joe Cole, Glenn Johnson, David James. Yeah, Bob Robson was good, but that was before Mike Ashley was in charge. Di Canio, Canute, and they got relegated. That team was insane. But because they didn't perform well, whether that was mismanagement, whether that was a combination of players not getting on or not playing well together. So in terms of that point, I completely agree. I think on one hand, the players are rubbish. On the other hand, that as a group, they're really underperforming because one win, even with a team of that level, is shocking. You know, one win. We're nearly at Christmas. They've won one game. It's embarrassing. So that's kind of my point on that. In terms of Eddie Howe coming in, it's a difficult one because who can you get? Like I said, with players, just because you've got unlimited money doesn't necessarily mean you can attract the best players, the best managers. That they're still going to look at you where you currently sit, which is 19th and pretty much doomed for relegation. And you know, you look at Lampard. As soon as the money came in, the pressure was tripled. So you know, Eddie Howe is going to have money to spend in Jan. Whether he can get anybody of any quality remains to be seen. But you know, if he spends 100, 200 million pounds in the summer and they're in the Premier League and they find themselves, you know, bottom half of the table in September, October, November, he's gone. Let's be fair. So it's a bit of a poison chalice at the minute. And like you say, just because you've got money, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful. Look at Everton. They've spent, what, 500 million pounds in about 5 seasons, and they're shit. They're absolute crap. So just because you've got the funds, it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, you're going to improve. I mean, Everton have gone backwards for me. You know, under David Moyes, when they had a shoestring budget, the likes of Pienaar and Cahill and Arteta coming in, they had a great team. And now they've spent 50 million on, you know, each position. They're worse than ever. So it's a tricky one to kind of put your finger on, because there's so many ifs, buts, and maybes coming ahead. Who can they get in January? Will they stay up? Who can they get in the summer? Would they change manager? You know, because realistically, when Chelsea got taken over, they already had a decent team. When Manchester City got taken over, they weren't great, but you know, they weren't sitting in the relegation zone. You know, they slowly built. They had that Thai owner before with Sven, and they made themselves, you know, not brilliant, but they were a kind of mid-table team. But Newcastle are other than Norwich, pretty much the worst team you could have taken over in terms of quality of the team. I think ambition of the club, fan support, you know, potential is 100% there. It's just a shame that they took over, you know, at the end of a transfer window and not maybe in May, June, July to really have a go at it. So yeah, lots to decide and lots to see what happens.
I totally agree. Just quick update from around the houses. You've got Wolves and Brighton, which is currently 1-0 to Wolves. Wolves seem to be clinging on by their fingernails. Brighton are throwing everything. The kitchen sink, the shop trolley, you name it, they are throwing absolutely everything at Wolves, and Wolves are just clinging on. They had a free kick. They bundled everyone into the box, and literally there is 11 minutes added time, and over that being played as we speak right now. So there must have been something happen in that game. Wolves are making changes to try and run down the clock, but it's still 1-0 to Wolves as we stand, and that is the final whistle. Wolves have won that game 1-0.
Brighton are in free fall, aren't they, from their good start that they had?
Well, that's what happens when your manager gets linked. Q Leicester, but we move. We jog it on slightly. I just look at it, and like you said, I think to myself, as we've gone through the squad, where do those threats come from in that Newcastle squad? Out of those players, who could harm us? Because we're absolutely flying defensively, we're flying attacking wise. But when I look at it, there's one player which gives me the absolute frights.
The heebie-jeebies.
the heebie-jeebies, the shakes, whatever you want to call it. Because this man is an absolute superstar. And I've always referred to him when talking about him in conversations as a poor man's Mane. Because he's very similar in terms of what Sadio Mane does for Liverpool. It's Alan Saint-Maximin. He's quality. Like every time he gets on the ball, it's just the desire to get at players and try and beat people and make things happen. The pace, the energy, the aggression, the tenacity. He's got everything. And if there was a player which I could get on a bargain deal in the Premier League, he would be in that list. He would be in your shopping list. And you're sitting thinking, he's not going to play. From a Liverpool perspective, you think he ain't going to play every single game, but when he does play, he's going to give you something special. I'd have him. I mean, Courtney, I'll come to you on this one. What do you think of Alan Saint-Maximin? And does he possess a threat for that Liverpool back line?
I'd say he's the main threat along with Callum Wilson. I think other than that, I'm not really too scared about anyone else. To be honest, I think it'll be.
That's what we said last time.
I
And Joe
feel like
Willock
it'll be a
decided he wanted to
walk.
fucking score. Joe Willock decided he wanted to go after about 10 fucking years.
No, I think it'll be a walk in the park. We've only been Burnley, so I don't think it's going to be anything to worry about. But even with Maximan and Callum Wilson, I think our defence like best in the Prem. So I doubt they're going to be breaking him behind at any point.
I just want to know, just out of interest, we talk about best defence in the Prem. Where are the Chelsea fans now? Where are you now? I'm sure we'll save that for another pod. But yes, we do have the best defence in the league at the moment. So we talk about Alan St-Maximin and SS. I'll come to you on this as well. Where are his strengths? What can he bring to that Newcastle lineup that he's going to get at that back four?
He's kind of up there on his own, isn't he? He's pacey, he's direct. His dribbling ability is fantastic. His Gucci hairband flowing in the wind. He's a top player, and I agree with you. I think if Newcastle do go down, which barring a miracle in January looks pretty likely, Liverpool should be snapping him up as another option. For me, he's better than Adama Traore, in my opinion.
I was literally about to ask you that
comment.
I was literally about to ask you that.
Seth. I could see you was ready.
Ask you that, Traore. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Traore, and guys in the comments, get involved. One name only. Yeah, no debating in the comments. Just one name only. Traore or St-Maximin, if either of them are available. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick the one that actually scores goals. So that would be ASM. So he's got 3, I think, this season already, which isn't bad for a team that's won one game. I think in a better team, like you say with Traore, which is fair, they would improve. I think St-Maximin's ceiling is far higher. I think he's far better quality. Sorry, your dad's got that one horrifically wrong, Courtney. There's not a chance. Traore might nudge him in a 100-meter race, but for me, St-Maximin is a far better player. His output, his assists, his goals, his general ability on the ball. Not just kicking and running, but turning, dribbling, footwork, skills, turns, getting out of tight situations. I think he's a fantastic player, and
I think speed can get you out of any situation, though.
Absolutely, it can. But I think when you're backed into a corner and you need a bit of quality as well, a JJ Okocha moment, I think St-Maximin gets out of that corner, and Traore is quite limited, other than attacking a fullback with, on the counter attacks, kind of all he's got in his tank for me. So yeah, I would go St-Maximin all day long, especially if they get relegated, because you look at Leeds, they're falling pretty far down. You want to start cherry picking players. We picked up Robertson from Hull when they got relegated for a really good deal. So, we're not money men. We don't spend hundreds of £1 million on players. So I think if he goes down, it's a no-brainer.
So do you think that our defence is going to have a harder time with St-Maximin than they did with Traore?
I'd say one-on-one, yes. It's just because he's so surrounded by no one else that can help him. Wilson is okay, but he mainly operates in the penalty area. So I think realistically, we're still going to have way too much for him, but I think he will shine a bit more than Traore did against us. Yeah.
Keep going, guys, because I'm looking for stats, boys. So keep the debate raging. Because I think this is a fantastic debate, because both of those players have been linked.
Mm.
They've been linked, and they are both fantastic examples.
They're both rapid, but obviously one's a lot more rapid than the other.
It comes down to.
I just think it was just like, even when we played against him, just like you could see him like FAB just taking everything, because he knew that he just couldn't. There's no way that he's going to beat him in a foot race, and I just think no player in the Prem, no defender would dare take him on in a foot race.
All right, cool. So let's look at it, yeah?
All right.
This season alone, okay, according to the Premier League, yeah, we're going with St-Maximin. 16 appearances, 3 goals, Okay. Goals per game is 0.90, but we'll ignore that. Shots, 33 shots. Shots on target, 11. Shot accuracy, 33%. Where are we going? Let's have a little look. Assists, 3. Passes, 361. Passes per match, 22.56. Big chances created, 4. Crosses, 26. Yeah. Tackles, 6. Block shots, 12. Interceptions, 5. Clearances, 2. Headed clearances, none. Okay. So that's not bad. That's not bad stats. That's all right. Okay. So let's find our man Adama Traore. Let's find him and see where he is at with his stats. Because Traore gets a bit of a bad rap. And we know why Traore gets a bit of a bad rap. This isn't anything new with Traore. We're always questioning his end product.
Yeah.
Essentially, is where the Adama Traore debate always. I can't bloody find him now. Is he way down here somewhere? There you are, my man. We're always questioning with Adama Traore. Yeah, is in terms of his end product, right? So we're looking at the moment 16 appearances. So he's made the same amount of appearances as Adam Saint-Maximin. Interesting. 0 goals. Okay. 6 wins, 7 losses. So less losses than Saint-Maximin. More wins, evidently. Okay. But that could be part of the team that he's part of. Passes, 277. Yeah. Passes per match, 17.31. Big chances created, 3. Crosses, 34. So they're comparable in terms of their crosses. Thank you for bringing that up, SS. They're comparable in terms of their crosses. Shots, 21 shots. What's Saint-Maximin had? Where are we at?
I think the only stat that you really need to look at, you look at this season, Traore, goals none, assists none. Maximin, goals 3, assists 3. Newcastle sit 19th. Wolves currently sit, 7th, 8th?
Yeah.
So I think that tells you everything you need to know.
I think finishing is something that you can easily
train
improve.
that.
Yeah.
You can improve that. I think if you're asking me, because I like Saint-Maximin, I really like him. I really, really, really like him. But I have to agree with Barker Senior. Klopp would make him an absolute monster. He would make him a monster. I think personally, Traore would be the one for if I had to choose out of those two. If I don't have to choose for those two, I know who I'm taking, and it's this guy right here. But that's another conversation. I like Saint-Maximin. I think he's good, but if I had to choose between Traore and Saint-Maximin, I'm going Traore. But it's a Newcastle Liverpool show. Let's stick with Traore with Saint-Maximin and Newcastle. So he is one of their danger men, if not the biggest threat on the park. We see from the amount of crosses that he plays in that is obviously a tactic to try and hit Callum Wilson, because Callum Wilson's aerial prowess is actually very, very good. He is good in the air. He's a target man. He's big. He's stocky. You can play off him. You can get around him. He's actually quite mobile as well. You can run in behind. Callum Wilson is a decent player. So Courtney, I'll come to you on this. Let's talk about Callum Wilson a little bit more, because when he was out injured, Newcastle struggled even more than they have struggled in now. And you might say that their recent ply is to do with the injury to Callum Wilson and how long he was out for. I mean, if you look at his stats this season, 12 games played, 6 goals. Yeah, so he's scoring in half of the games that he's played. Yeah, that's decent.
I've always rated Callum Wilson, to be fair. I've always thought he was a good finisher.
He's a decent player. Shot accuracy, 38%. That ain't bad. That ain't too shabby. Shots, 26. Shots on target, 10. So, that's not for a player playing at Newcastle, that's not that bad. Headed goals, 3. So you can see that's a figment of his game. Over half of his goals have come with his head. we know that we've been caught out on set pieces. Yeah, we've been lacking on set pieces, and teams have got us through set pieces. Could this be something that Newcastle try and exploit with Callum Wilson, getting him up against Alisson, putting him up against Matip, going, do you know what? Go and test Virgil. Go and put him under a little bit of pressure, Callum. See what you can do. We've got nothing to lose here. It's a free hit. Liverpool are in blistering form. Let's see if we can get any change out of them. What do you think, guys?
I mean, they're gonna know. Like, I'm not being funny about. They might think to themselves, "Oh yeah, like I fancy yourselves up against him." But come on, they're good.
Yeah, we
Best centre half the world. Really?
We all know the outcome.
As well. If Canate plays as well, bring it on. Bring it on.
We all know how that's going to end. But it's worth talking about anyway. So SS, what do you think? Would Newcastle fancy themselves, in a scenario where they think they could possibly get some change out of Liverpool's defence in terms of free kicks? Because free kicks, conceding from free kicks and conceding from corners, have been an Achilles of Liverpool this season. We cannot deny and we cannot ignore it. And when you've got a player who has scored over half of his goals with his head, that is a worry.
I think it's damage limitation from minute one. Newcastle have got Liverpool obviously tomorrow. They've then got Man City at the weekend, so it's the week from hell for a team in 19th place. They've then got Man United the week after that, which isn't quite as bad. But
Newcastle to win that.
Yeah, I mean, in the new year they've got Watford and Leeds back to back. They're the kind of 6-pointer games that they're going to be looking at getting something from, and they may have a couple of new recruits by then. So no, I mean, Callum Wilson, is a very good, he's a decent Premier League striker. He did get a little run in the England squad as well for a little while before his injuries kind of hampered that, but he's always consistent. Like you said, he's got 6 in 12. Wherever he goes, he scores goals. He was at Bournemouth and still got the goals in, like you say, most often a struggling Bournemouth. They did have that one season. I think they came 8th somehow. But then, like you say, back down to kind of the lower end of the table. So, yeah, they're going to come into this game parking the bus. I would imagine a back 5, maybe one up on their own. You might have Wilson up there on his own with St. Maximan, either as a wing back or just maybe one of the midfield 3 that can try and get us on the counter attack. But like Courtney said, you got Virgil, you got Canate, you got Matip, you got Fabinho. That you do the maths. They've got 2 decent players. We've got 4 there that are going to be mopping up at the back. So no, I don't see them getting any change out of this. And as I say, I think it's how many rather than who wins.
You make some very, very good points there as well. Arsenal currently are beating West Ham 2-0 at the Emirates. West Ham down to 10 men due to the red card, which culminated in a penalty. Fantastic goal from Emil Smith-Rowe, just obviously a short moment ago. But West Ham had a free kick and failed to trouble the Arsenal backline with that straight into the wall. We keep it moving.
Feels like 2010 seeing Arsenal in 4th place. Weird.
It does, doesn't it? It does. But allow them to have a false sense of security because it will not last. A Christmas, New Year capitulation is on their hands, as it always is with Arsenal Football Club. We know it's coming. It's just a matter of which month in the calendar it's going to be, whether it will be December, January, or February. Pick, because it will happen. Or all 3, which would be even better still. Let's move on to some Liverpool touch points as well. Defence is a strong point for Liverpool right now. Liverpool have the most clean sheets in the Premier League and the biggest goal difference. Courtney, I will come to you on this as well. What has changed? Last year, we couldn't get a clean sheet even if we paid someone. we would be happy to pay for a clean sheet, and we couldn't muster one up. What has changed? And we're not a one-man team, so it's not Virgil. What has changed?
It's injury. It is injury. Like we've got all our players back fit. We've got so many to choose from. All great players. Like it's just so nice to see. And I just think the mentality is different. It's different because we were going through this shitty injury crisis. I feel like it was just clinching on to get top 4. It was one of them where it was like, we just need to try and stay in top 4, get Champions League. Oh, look at them two beautiful. Yeah, and I feel like the mentality, I think they come back with a vengeance. They're hungry. And I feel like that makes all the difference.
I think you're
like
right.
Salah, he's like, we want both. We want the league.
I think you're right.
We want the Champions League. And I just think they've been great. They're hungry for it this season. I feel like they felt like got robbed, which we did. Pickford robbed us.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just different. I feel like the mentality in the squad, the leadership. We've got so many leaders in the team. And I feel like Klopp wants it. I just feel like we're ready and raring for it this time round.
I agree with you. I think hunger being the choice word is so apt. The hunger is different. And SS, you and I have spoken about this at length. Last year we were robbed. Last year, up until Christmas, early January, it was ours. We had one hand on the trophy. We had one, even after the Virgil injury, we still had one hand on that trophy because we were playing scintillating football.
Yeah, Matip and Gomez was fine, wasn't it?
It was fine. At times, it wasn't sexy, but it was effective. We were getting the job done. And we could have quite easily be talking about a back-to-back Premier League win, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was there. It was there for the taking because nobody else was good. No one else was good. But we were looking very, very good. And the level of injuries just took its toll. And then we were into damage limitation. We're playing centre midfielders at centre back. Then those midfielders are getting injured. Fabinho's getting injured. Henderson got injured. Matip got injured. Gomez got injured. Virgil was injured. You know, you name it. They were getting injured, and it was just it was an injury crisis. Is that the difference though this year? Because we've had injuries this year. Firmino's coming back from an injury. Jota's had niggles. Thiago's had niggles. Curtis Jones has had niggles. Elliott's had niggles. Hendo again's had niggles as well. Fabinho's been in and out of the team also. So we're not without injuries this year. So what is
but
the
you
difference?
can tell when we have got that. You can tell, like, for instance, like FAB. You can tell when FAB's not on the pitch because your midfielders, you can tell they don't want to go forward as much because they've not got that security in behind them. Same with Verge. When you've got Verge on the pitch, you're thinking, if he gets past me, it's fine because he's not getting past him. So it's chill. Like, I'm going to go on that run and give it a go. It's probably why Matip's always taking ball out. He probably thinks it's fine. Probably Verge is there. It's chill. Yeah.
I mean, it was the perfect storm last year, like you said, wasn't it? I mean, literally, whatever hole we plugged, that the plug got injured as well. So, any plan C, plan D, plan E, and plan F were all out of the window. But yeah, I agree. On one hand, it is personnel. You look at Van Dijk, he's come back into the team. He's the best centre back on the planet, and he's been really consistent. I've been quite surprised with how he's come back and pretty much played every game. He's only missed out one or two, which we absolutely didn't need him in, whether that be the Cup or something like that. But every major game that we need to win, he's been there playing well. And he's not really shown any signs of injury. He's not been quite what the Van Dijk we saw before the injury just yet, but he's not that far off it. So he's been sublime. But I agree. We've dealt better with the injuries. We've had more players available in the squad. Konate's been a massive plus, being able to rest Matip now and again as well and create a bit of competition at that centre back position next to Van Dijk, where last season it was any centre backs in the building, yep, you can play, and now it's who's playing in that form, who does Matip suit playing against this week? Which way round should we play them? So that's definitely helped, and like you said, James, Fabinho in CDM is huge. Putting him in centre back last season was a massive loss to the CDM position, and then we had Henderson at the back, and that the full backs couldn't push on quite as much, which without Van Dijk and Matip there. So it was the perfect storm, as I said. And, like you mentioned with Revenge Tour, everybody's so hungry and keen to put that right because this group of players, should be going for every trophy in that's available to them. We shouldn't be aiming for fourth. We shouldn't even be aiming for second. This group of players are phenomenal. So yeah, I agree with a lot of what Courtney said, and a lot of what you said, James, as well. Is to have Matip probably playing the most consistently he has done in a couple of years. Konate is a fantastic arrival. Arrived with his perfect form. He's not had any time to kind of get in the team. I know he's not had the minutes from the beginning, but now he's got his chance. He's taken it, and yeah, Big Verge is doing Big Verge things.
Look at what Zlatan said about Konate. He's only 22. The type of player he's going to be is amazing. Like, swap shirts with him.
The scary thing is...
That's a compliment.
The scary thing is he's still fucking growing. Like, has anybody stopped to
I'm 22. I think I've stopped growing now.
I don't know if he's going to get any bigger, is he?
When you're whoa. Let's be very clear. When you're a professional athlete, yeah, your actual age to grow is a lot more because of the nutrients, the stretching, the physicality. He's still growing. That's the joke. He's going to be bigger. He's going to be stronger. He's going to be faster. He's going to get positionally better. We are not even seeing the best of this kid. And I think the funny thing is about this is the funny thing. You would have looked at the start of the season and you'd have gone, right, Virgil, yeah, he's going straight back in. Gomez, yeah, he's going straight back in. Konate's coming in to place third. Matip's going to be the backup. It's been turned on its head. Gomez can't buy a game.
Yeah, I think Matip though, I think he's just blown over our minds. We all thought he'd come back in, he'd play 2 or 3 games, and then he'd be injured again.
Let's be honest. We all thought that Joel Matip was done. We thought he was done. Yeah. Let's be clear. We're not slating him because he's a wonderful player. We just thought, with the level of injuries, the consistency of the injuries, they all being muscle injuries. They're not impact injuries, they're muscle injuries. And muscle injuries are the worst. They're horrible, nasty little things. They're niggles that you struggle to get rid of. But whatever the medical department is feeding that guy, keep feeding it to him. Because I'm telling you now, he is the second best defender in the Premier League.
Ooh.
Only second to Virgil van Dijk, straight. No one else comes close. Name me someone. I'll wait.
I can back you on that.
I think Ruben Diaz would have something to say.
Ruben Diaz can come outside. Because I'm sorry, Ruben Diaz had a free shot last year because he never had no Virgil van Dijk to come up against. Now he's coming up against Virgil van Dijk. We've got the most clean sheets in the league this year. Ruben Diaz, where are you at? Ruben Diaz, where are you at? We ain't lost as many games as them. Ruben Diaz, come outside. It's as simple as that.
Konate, take him outside. You don't see how he said about how you protect your family, the whole United, that touched my heart because I just feel like he's just got in with the squad so well. And I think when you're playing with the best centre half in the world, it's just going to make him a better player. I feel like he's got the Liverpool mentality already, and
That's not a bad shout.
I feel like it's just going to blow.
I liked your dad until that comment.
He's having a good season, let's be fair.
He is having a good season, but he's playing for either a better contract or a move. Yeah.
And in a back five.
And is it like Matip though in terms of the ball out?
Yeah, but he's
going a little run every now and then.
He's playing in a back five. You put when Rudiger was playing in a 2, he looked woeful.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take that into consideration, definitely.
In a 2, he looked like a donkey. Like honestly, he looked like a donkey. He was getting. Can we block this guy?
He's our friend from India. Don't be mean.
Can we block him? Listen,
you do a bit with a beard, to be fair. It's a good looking beard you've got there.
LJ, you are gonna get yourself put in the on the naughty step. Rescind that comment.
Oh dear.
Oh god. Oh man. You know what? It's funny, right? Because obviously I coach youth team football. There's 2 young lads who play centre back for me. Big shout out to those young boys. They're superstars. They are, bless them. And they're huge Chelsea fans. And honestly, it's funny because you think that their positional discipline isn't good. They're not doing things right. So since Rudiger has been playing some decent football, these boys have been playing some unreal football. And I'm like, you guys have been watching Rudiger. They're like, yeah. And then one of them said, do you know what, Coach James? You look like Rudiger. And I was just like, oh, so that's like the second person to say it. Oh, God.
You have to go out and see if you can get any perks from it.
I'll take this. A young Denzel Washington. I'll have that. Thank you. Better. You can stay now.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
But I just think at the moment, defensively, we have the best defense in the league, the best makeup of defenders in the league to choose from. And even outside of those four that we have, Nat Phillips came in out of the cold at the San Siro and bossed it. He absolutely bossed it. And a player which I think will get a move in January, and I think he deserves a move in January. But ultimately, we have got one of the best defenses in the world, let alone the Premier League.
I think Alisson's improved his form as well. Like you say, when you've got zero centre back in front of you, or you've got players playing out of position, or Nat Phillips and Williams, was it, playing there as well?
Yeah.
You feel that you have to do more. You feel that you have to be a sweeper keeper. And even when we had Kabak in there, I remember Alisson away to Leicester coming out like Formula One car and colliding with him, and the confidence wasn't there. And once you got Van Dijk, Matip, or Konate in front of you, you're like, yeah, they've got this. That's cool. I can be a goalie again. So I think that's been an improvement as well.
I agree, and that's confidence. That's all based on confidence. Like you said, when you've got your back four there, they know it's that telepathy.
Yeah.
You know, Verge knows, right? Alisson's going to come for this. I can leave it. Ali comes out, sweeps it up. Yeah. Or that's too far. He ain't coming for that. So I need to deal with that. Maybe I need to play it back to him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's that telepathy between those players. They have that on smash right now. Yeah, they have it on smash. I just feel that we're in such a good place in terms of that defensive makeup. It is absolutely fantastic. Let's jog it on slightly, because there is a huge debate which I want to get into before we talk about the expected lineups, and it's the African Cup of Nations debate. SS and I had a back and forth raging WhatsApp conversation about the integrity of the AFCON, and it affects Liverpool massively because arguably we lose two of our main stars. Forget about Keita, and Matip obviously refuses now to play for Cameroon. But we lose two of our main stars to this competition. Now, there is a lot of talk, and this has been raging on for the last 24, 40 hours, that based on the current issue with the global pandemic, that the AFCON may not go ahead. That story is gathering pace rapidly as we speak. I, for one, believe that tournament would still go ahead, but I think that there may be an embargo that the Premier League placed to stop the Premier League players going to the tournament. That's where I feel this is heading, and that's what current news outlets are talking about. But SS feels that this tournament is a bit of an inconvenience.
Just a little.
Because of the length of the tournament. I feel that the quality that's on show in terms of the AFCON and the African nations, they should have the same respect as the European Championships, because the European Championship have some bottom tier fodder that play in those early stages and also in the latter stages. You think at some of the teams that are in that qualification stages or in the early group stages of those tournaments, and they're just not good enough to be there. So I do agree with some of what SS was saying earlier on about maybe limiting it to 16 teams and cutting out the last 16 and making the competition more streamlined. But let's not forget, FIFA's agenda at the moment is to increase the amount of teams in the World Cup, increase the amount of teams in the Euro. They've increased the amount of teams in the AFCONs. They've increased the amount of teams in the Copa. And you made a really good point earlier on, SS, and I'll let you lead on with this about money, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, up to 2017, the African Nations Cup consisted of 16 teams, 4 groups of 4, a quarterfinal, a semi-final, and a final, which is 31 matches. And when you're holding a competition one in Africa, which the heat, etc., still in January is still an issue.
Yeah.
And during a season, I think that's enough. Personally, I don't think you need to make it any longer than it needs to be. And I don't want to slur the African nation as a footballing continent, because, like you've correctly said, some of the best players we've ever seen have come from Africa, and currently
definitely.
some of the best players in world football are from Africa as well. So I love the African nations. I remember when it was on BBC Three. Used to be on there. I used to watch it. With Garth Crooks as the presenter. I used to love watching all that. But for me, I think I get why the Euros was expanded to 24, because Europe has the most quality in terms of number of nations that are footballing nations. I think if we're honest, I think you look at, I agree. The qualification process in Europe is a bit of a joke. You've got San Marino, Andorra, all those kind of teams. But the actual Euros that we've just had last summer, Euro 2021, I think it was a success. I think there's a lot of European countries and enough European countries to make a competition out of 24 teams. But I look at Africa and I think there's probably 10 nations that are, teams that have been in and around World Cup qualification, the likes of Egypt, Algeria, Senegal, Ghana, Nigeria, those kind of countries, like you say, the staple teams that have had quality football. But just to name a few, to get this up to 24, you've got countries from countries like Burkina Faso, Cape Verde, Ethiopia, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Comoros, Guinea-Bissau, Sudan, Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone, Gambia, and Mauritania. Again, I might be ignorant, but I don't know one player from any of those countries combined. So
Guinea,
you have
Guinea. We know someone from Guinea.
Not Guinea-Bissau. We don't. It's a different country. So for me, making it into a 24-team tournament, having we've got 6 groups of 4. Was that 36 matches to get rid of 8 teams? So the only teams that are going out are the teams that finish bottom of that group, and some of the third place positions are going to go through anyway. So all those games, I think it takes about 11 days to get rid of 8 teams, to get rid of a quarter of the teams in that competition, when you're already taking some of the best players in the world out of the best teams in the world at a crucial point in the season. So I understand why it's held in January because of the weather. I get that. I just, as you said, I think it could be streamlined, and seeing a round of 16 when you've only got 24 teams in there. I get the Euros do it, but that is in the summer. During a season, I think is a little bit unnecessary. I think you could have, 16 teams, 4 groups of 4, straight into a quarterfinals. You could knock 10 days off of this competition, and it would still be just as good, because you've still got, quality in there rather than quantity. And some of those countries, with all respect, aren't footballing nations, and I would be surprised if all of them have 11 professionals. So I'm not against the African Nations Cup at all. I think it's a fantastic tournament. The players in there are brilliant. Salah, Mane, they want to represent their countries. This is the chance for them to lift some silverware for their countries. The only chance they get, because they're not going to win a World Cup. I just think it's a little bit excessive. And, for me, the only reason they've expanded the tournament is money, which is a shame.
I agree with a lot of what you said, but this is an advert for the African game. African players have had a lot of shade over the last decade, 20 years. The last African player to win the Ballon d'Or or what was the World Player of the Year, was George Weah. That is years ago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We've had some serious African players. Let's not forget, we talk about Didier Drogba. We talk about Etu. You think
Essien.
About Essien. You think about Mikel. You think about who's the bloody hell, mine's gone blank. Song. The list is endless of top tier African players. Plying their Yaya Toure. Toure.
How did he not get up there?
How did he not even get close?
Well, it says it all, doesn't it? Because they've just released the FIFA Pro 23-man list of the best players in the world.
And where is Mo Salah?
And Mo Salah's not even in the 23. I mean,
no, he's not even in the squad.
And this is what I'm talking about. The disrespect,
ridiculous,
that the African continent gets for its players is disgusting. It's disgusting. Now, I appreciate your comments in regards to streamlining the competition, but that just suits one thing only, and that's convenience. I do appreciate the money involved in this game, but money creates and allows these teams to actually produce better players in the long run. These football associations rely on this tournament to actually start to produce the quality of player that you see Senegal having, that Ghana have, that Egypt now have, that Morocco now have. Morocco have only really in the last 2-3 years become the footballing force in Africa that they are, because they're now starting to produce players through sustained qualification through to the stages of the AFCON. This means a lot to these teams. So if these teams can continue to qualify in a tournament of 24, which can produce the money they need to reinvest into their, what we refer to as the grassroots game, and push it down their football pyramid, which is going to get young boys that once were Mohamed Salah that would take 3 buses and walk 100 miles to play football, to give those boys an opportunity, it is a good thing. A lot of these African players actually ply their trade in places like Russia, in the lower leagues in Italy, the lower leagues in Spain, in the lower leagues in Holland, Belgium. We just don't know about these guys. And a lot of these young boys, they're sent to Europe at an early age as well. They're sent to Europe at an early age. And a lot of them make the decision to actually represent the European country of which they've just been playing in. I remember Impenza. I don't know if you all remember
Belgium,
him.
Money.
Yeah, Impenza. So Impenza just decided to represent Belgium way before they had a golden nation. Belgium was shit. And he was just like, well, I've been playing in this. Yeah, Emil Impenza. I've been playing in this league. I know the language. I've been here for a while. I better just represent Belgium. But what we're seeing now is we're actually seeing a sea change in the football landscape, especially here in the UK, where players are actually choosing to represent their native country. British players are choosing to represent their native country.
Yeah, it's a half one.
Wilfred Zaha being one, because his prospects within the England team were limited. Quality player, just had no real prospects in the England team. We're seeing outside of Africa, we're seeing for Jamaica. Jamaica have had a huge push to bring talent in, because they just weren't creating the talent at the grassroots level. It was being really, really difficult. So going out and looking at players that qualify for Jamaican passports, and the African teams are doing the same thing, just to plug that gap with the hope that they can compete in a World Cup and get to the latter stages of a World Cup, because it's going to bring investment, it's going to bring riches, it's going to bring television coverage, it's going to bring highlight to the African game. So I feel that the AFCON should be given the same respect as the Euros, because if you're going to cut the AFCON to 16 teams, and I appreciate it's in January and it's inconvenient to us as lovers of the Premier League, because we're losing Mohamed Salah, we're losing Mane, you're losing Mendy from Chelsea, some of the top draw, Mahrez from City, the other lad at Chelsea. There's a number of players who play in the Premier League that are African players, and you're thinking, damn, these players are going away for 6 weeks. What's the Prem going to look like then? I remember Mourinho saying, or the Chelsea hierarchy at one point going, we're not so sure about African players, because they all piss off for 6 weeks every other January. Like, do we sign them? And Mourinho went, no, we sign them because we get Drogba, Mikel, and players like that, and create a dynasty. These players are absolute athletes. They're athletes, and they play some serious ball.
I just think you have to be careful with the integrity, because, if you see Mo Salah against Cape Verde, for example, you're thinking, what are they doing? It's like putting San Marino in the Euros. The whole integrity of the competition would soon be like, well, it's not difficult to win. So I take all of your points, and they're all valid, and they're all really good points made. I just think, don't grow it too quickly. Don't run before you can walk, because if you get games like Mauritiana against Comoros, and if the quality of the games are literally bottom tier, then the African Nations Cup as a competition suddenly isn't valued quite as high as it maybe could be, with 16 teams in it instead, with 10 decent nations. Senegal, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, all going at it. And every game is like 2 decent footballing nations against each other. that are getting knocked out, group stage, four teams in 4 groups, 2 go out. Okay, into the quarters, boom, you've got Cameroon against Ivory Coast, Tunisia against Algeria, Ghana against Egypt, boom, semi-final, boom, final. Every game is one. Oh, I want to watch that. I'll catch that on Sky. I think that we've got it this year, but there's a good 20 games there that no one, apart from the teams, unfortunately, that they're for, are going to be interested in. And I get, you do get that in the Euros once or twice. You get,
you get it more than once or twice.
Yeah.
I see some bottom tier teams,
definitely do.
Also bottom tier matches in the Euros, and you and I have spoken about this, thinking, oh God, it's internationals now. Oh,
yeah,
for crying out! Or it's a Euros, but that game is shite.
Ukraine, Montenegro, or something like that.
Even some of the home nations, nations.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland. Wales now, like you're thinking, like Scotland. Like, when was the last time you qualified for a major competition, bro? Like, come on, at least help us out a little bit. We're England, we can't do it all. You got to come to the party sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. I take all your points, and then I think mine are valid as well. I agree. I think personally, 16 is a good number for where African football is at the minute. I think yes, you want these countries that don't really have a footballing nation to grow, but at the same time, don't put the lambs to the slaughter.
Yeah.
I think you could be doing the opposite of what you're trying to do.
You could be doing more harm than good. No, and do you know what that's a fair point. I think it's a good way to end that part of the show, because you're right. I think it's a choice. Or no, sorry, it's a subject, whether it is the financials or the quality of the game. What are we going for here? And I think the two kind of interlink with what we're seeing in world football at the moment. Courtney, quickly, as we're going to start closing the show, thank you to you guys here in the comments as well. It's much appreciated. Thank you for joining us. We are going to start to wrap it up. Expected lineup. Rotation. And I'll say it again. Fucking rotation. And I love it. And do you know why I love it? Because everybody last season, or heading into the summer, shot me down. I was like, no, we can't rotate. The squad isn't good enough. Oh, if we rotate, it's gonna be horrendous. We need to improve. And we have probably been the best team this year at rotating. You think about, everyone looked at Chelsea and went, Chelsea's squad, fucking hell, that is impressive. Oh my God, they're going to be able to rotate and they're going to walk this league. We know what Manchester City do. They've been the kings of rotation ever since Pep Guardiola arrived. They've got.
So their bench costs more than our squad.
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. You look at their players and they're not exactly household names. Zinchenko isn't a household name. He's getting a game because their left back wouldn't stop touching up people that didn't want him to touch him up. Like, let's be honest. He's in there playing because Benjamin Mendy's on a holiday.
I doubt he's on holiday. I don't think he'll be enjoying himself in there, especially not in the showers.
That's what I'm saying. He's at the pleasure of Her Majesty at the moment. But we can't sway away from facts. Manchester City have been very, very good at rotation for a number of years. I think the penny has now dropped with Liverpool and with Jurgen Klopp. And I think it coincides with the arrival of the new chap in our medical department, and how stringent he is with player rest times, injury recovery. You're not just getting thrown back into games. Reoccurrence of injuries is a huge thing for our medical department now. So who do you think is going to start, Courtney B? Give us your starting lineup.
Honestly, I have no idea. I feel like this one, I can't even because I do think there will be quite a few changes. How far he's going to take it, I don't know, because we have to win.
Okay.
So I don't know if he's going to err on the side of caution. maybe like put a Canate in there. I don't even know if he's going to go as far as putting Simicast in there. Don't think he's going to go that. I don't know.
I do.
Do you think?
I do. I think personally, I think Alisson will get a rest. I think Queevin will come in.
I don't think you rest Alisson for a Prem game. No chance.
The only reason why I think Queven will come in is because I think Alisson, and we look at where his injuries have occurred before, they've always occurred at this point. Think about the injury he did back at, against Atletico however long ago. It was at this point. Think about the injury after that. It was at this point.
Yeah, he just needs to bring an armchair, doesn't he? A newspaper.
Oh, of course.
He's going to be not even stood in his own box.
Of course, but he injured himself kicking a ball last time. Come on. Like he did a Naby Keita before Naby Keita did a Naby Keita. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I think we'll see wholesale changes. I think Queven could come in for a game, but let's be honest, it's probably going to be Alisson. But I could see Queven could come in for a game. I think Tsimikas could come in and get a game. Yeah, I think that Verge is definitely going to play, but you could quite easily turn around and throw Gomez in there and say, "Go on, Joe, you need some football. It's against Newcastle. Go and kick a ball." I think Trent will play. Trent's always going to play. The midfield is where you'll see changes. Milner could come back in because he's fit. Ox could drop into that midfield because he's fit. Yeah. Firmino could get a run out because he's now fit.
Training,
because he's now fit. Yeah. Divock might even get a start.
Is he injured, isn't he?
No, he did. No, Divock's fit. Divock's fit.
Okay.
So Divock could even get a little run out. And then off the left, you could put Jota out there and rest Mane. The options are fucking endless.
I'm just scared though that we're going to put so much rotation in there, getting cocky, being like, we can put our worst squad out there, and then they just ends up being one of them games where we just can't finish in the final third, and then we end up getting a cheeky one on a counter attack or on a set piece.
I totally agree with you. It is a worry based on the emphatic result Manchester City had. You know, that was emphatic against Leeds. Yeah, Leeds were shit, but City were good. And the worrying thing about Manchester City, De Bruyne looks fucking hungry. De Bruyne looks.
Where's he been for 2 years?
He's been injured. He's had injuries, COVID, this and that. But Manchester City fans will never let you use that as an excuse because it just doesn't exist as far as Manchester City fans are concerned. But let's give him his flowers. He's had injury problems. But last night, that man was playing like a man possessed. He destroyed Leeds. Like I watched it. It was a Kevin De Bruyne masterclass. I'm worried about Kevin De Bruyne because he is a very, very good player. But I do agree with what Courtney was saying. We don't want to get cocky and put too much rotation in play. But we're in that point where we've got a lot of fixtures. From Leicester, we go to Spurs. From Spurs, is it Leeds after that on Boxing Day? And then we've got Leicester sandwiched in between there in a League Cup tie. And then obviously after that, you head into January with the likes of Chelsea and so on and so forth. So you don't want to overwork these players against what you would assume should be an easier opponent. SS, I'll give you the final say on this.
Yeah.
In terms of the expected lineup and rotation.
Yes, I mentioned on our last show that the lineup that started against, I don't know if it was last weekend or the week before, the default first 11, if you were to pick the Liverpool 11 that's played the most, or if you had a Champions League final tomorrow, the 11 you'd expect to see, I don't think we'll play our strongest team now until that Chelsea game. So I think there's going to be a lot of rotation. It's just, as Courtney said, it's how much. So I think we'll see, 3 or 4 changes for tomorrow. And then, like you said, we've got Spurs. You could probably see the ones that don't miss out in that one, possibly get a rest in that one. There's certain players that you don't rest. Van Dijk, Mo Salah, Fabinho, they play. Alisson, they play. Probably Trent as well, because the right back option isn't quite there yet. So I think against Newcastle, I'd expect to see Alisson, Tsimikas, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent, Fabinho, Ox, Milner. And then the front three, he usually plays Salah and Mane pretty often. He normally gives them a rest once the game is done. Like if it's an hour in, he'll drag one of them off rather than start them on the bench. So I'll probably think Salah, Jota, Mane will start because Jota didn't start against Villa. But I would expect to potentially see a Bobby come on around the hour mark, maybe move Jota out to the wing and bring off a Mane or a Salah or both if we're rolling 3-4-0 up by then.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And I think that's a good place to move us on to the part of the show which I hate the most, which SS loves the most. And Courtney B is suspect of SS. It is
for you as well.
What?
Just do
Really?
that. You, I want to go last. I'm hosting. I'll go last.
Yeah.
So you flip it round. I think you should go first this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you realised I'm hosting. So
Two votes
Courtney
to
B.
one.
You're not mentioned.
Listen. Your votes don't count in this land. Unfortunately, this is not a democracy. It's a dictatorship.
Fair enough.
No, do you know what? I'll go first. I'll go first.
All right.
So score prediction. Ooh, score prediction.
Do we outdo City? Is my question.
No, I don't think we do. I think Leeds are a team in. Well, actually, Newcastle are a team in free fall as well. So could you? But you know what? That would be sexy, wouldn't it? Could you imagine that City go park off Leeds and we go, all right then, we'll raise you
That's
one.
a message. That is sending a message.
That is sending a serious message. Go on then. But do you know what, boys and girls? Maybe we don't do score predictions this week. Maybe we just enjoy it. Maybe we just let our team go and play and just sit back and watch them destroy Newcastle and say, go on then, Manchester City.
This is where we need Jericho.
Oh, do you know, I was just about to say this week, I think Jericho's right. I'm going 7-0. I think anything City can do, we can do.
Yeah.
We're still highest scorers. And I feel that result yesterday from City was them trying to chase down the goal difference.
100%.
They saw Leeds were there for the taking, and they were like, right, goal difference. Let's chase it down. Because I feel, and again, it is a worry for me. I feel that Manchester City are about to ease into one of their runs.
Me too.
Where they just get comfortable, and it's not a case of drawing games. It's win. So that's why I said at the start of the show,
it's coattail time.
It's coattail time. Let's just hang on. Yeah, keep doing what we do. Yeah. And when it comes down to playing them again, we beat them. Same as Chelsea. When it comes down to playing them in January, because Chelsea are on a woeful run at the moment. Yeah. We beat them. And we put that little bit of daylight that we need. And then we do our thing and we go win. I think that's the way that this Premier League title is going to be won. And someone said it earlier on in the show. I can't find the comment. Do we pick them to the post by 1 point this year? Because I think this could quite easily be another 100-point season.
Oh, do you know, I was looking at that literally today, and I was looking. I think it's going to be in and around just short, because Man City played 17, 41 points. If you say they win their next two, which is quite likely, that's 47 halfway through the season, which is just shy of 100 points. If you double that, about 94 or so. So it's interesting. You know, if they've drawn 2, lost 2 so far, it's going to be a hell of a run to get over 100 points this season, isn't it? It just shows you how good we were when we got like 99.
It's ridiculous.
It's impossible almost.
Mate, but guys, like, we're in a world now of football in the Premier League where you need 90 plus points.
Yeah, easily.
To be top 2. This isn't 90, not to win it, to be top 2. To be top 3, you need 90 plus points. That's unreal.
Yeah.
That is unreal. Like,
those three are miles ahead, aren't they?
But I don't think Chelsea are going to get 90 points this season.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think they get 90. I think they get 80 something. I think that Liverpool get over 90 points. I think that Manchester City get over 90 points. I don't think Chelsea get 90 plus points.
Yeah.
Because again, they're coming unstuck against the teams that they shouldn't be. Yeah, Warren, I'm talking to you.
He was just about to do his badge.
No, I do. I think they get 90 plus points, which Liverpool get 90 plus points, City get 90 plus points. But being in a season where 90, or in a world where 90 plus points can only potentially guarantee you second, mate, that's unreal. And I think that's a great place to wrap up the show. What we got coming up? Because I know there's a lot coming up.
Yeah, so obviously there was a Champions League draw, which we've not got into yet. So we might have run out of time today, but we've got plenty of time before we play into Milan. We've got Spurs at the weekend. We've got Red Sea full time for Newcastle and Spurs as well. And then, like you say, we've got games coming thick and fast. I think it's Leicester in the cup after Spurs midweek, then into that Leeds game on Boxing Day. So I doubt we'll be doing a show on Christmas Day. So we might have a few shows to fit in before that. So yeah,
we might do a Christmas Day special.
I might do a little vlog for the Leeds game.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we might do a little Christmas Day.
Me and Barker Senior will get on it.
Special Boxing Day Barkers.
Yeah.
A little Crimbo. A little Crimbo Red Sea Pod. A little Crimbo Red Sea Pod. You never know.
I'll be watching that. Be good.
Yeah, you never know. But guys, we've run out of time.
Yeah.
We've gone slightly over about me and SS's rant on the AFCON.
It's a good show, though.
I'm sure this will be resumed at a later date when the AFCON hits the TV. If it does, it still remains to be seen whether it's going to be cancelled or not. But Liverpool second in the Premier League, headed into a game against Newcastle, only 3 points, and the blistering amount of goals will do, as far as I'm concerned. I've been Thiago's father. This has been Southern Scouser, and that's been Courtney B. We're over and we're out.